the slow movement of the Mozart symphony is very, very simple, but there's something very special about the texture. It's a very simple texture with the upper strings just gently throbbing in triplets above it. It's a bit like an early 60s rock ballad, actually. But then underneath that, in a sort of very operatic way, you have the sort of the hairy villain. I find there's something really wonderful about the idea of this amazing 8-year-old struggling to really make this first symphony without his father really watching over his shoulder. From the manuscript, you can see him, the young Mozart, really making little alterations to get it just right, just how he wanted it. It's got everything that Mozart was later to become, all these characters, this operatic nature. And it's really, I think, the first piece that I feel that you can really feel the young Mozart there on his own without his father looking over his shoulder too much. The orchestra and the public performance of symphonic music was becoming much more important towards the end of the 18th century, and people wanted to go to concerts and wanted to hear the latest music. Concerts like the Concert Spirituel in Paris that were set up in the middle of the 18th century, where Mozart went and had his Paris Symphony performed in 1778. Haydn wasn't officially allowed to send his music outside Esterházy. He was actually contracted and forbidden to allow his music out. It did manage to get out, of course, in secret copies. The sort of steamy nature of the opening of the Haydn Symphony is absolutely extraordinary.
It's incredible. It really is incredible. It's incredibly simple, but it's incredibly effective.
Haydn's middle symphonies, particularly those he wrote in the 1760s and 1770s at Esterházy, are amazing bits of modern composition. And you must remember that both the composers at Mannheim, Stamitz and Richter, and Haydn at Esterházy were doing amazing new things with the orchestra and the symphony, the form, and exploring all sorts of motivic inventions within the symphony and relating all the movements together. In the four movements of the F minor Symphony number 49, he sets himself a very strange task. Rather than having at least one movement with a different key, which is often the way that symphonies would go, certainly later on, just for total variety, Haydn keeps every movement in F minor. Every movement is in F minor, with one bit of exception which I'll come to. And every movement even starts with you hearing the same two notes, which is the fundamental, the F, and the fifth. So it's a very specific sound that he's setting up for the whole symphony, that is your basic sound at the opening of every movement. The second movement's that, and the third movement is also that. But within that, but he's given himself a specific task, motivic task within the piece, and even the themes in the movements are related to each other through the four movements. The only bit of light relief is in the trio of the minuet, which you suddenly get a little bit of thigh-slapping Viennese light relief, but then we were straight back again to the F minor for the return of the trio, and then the final movement, which is incredibly hyperactive.
such a joy to play Haydn. I mean, you actually feel healthier for playing Haydn somehow at the end of a rehearsal even. You know, it has some most miraculous healing qualities. When a genius like Haydn comes along and he has a patron who is actually proud of his patronage of Haydn, then the focus becomes more on the wonderful group of musicians and the wonderful things that they're doing. So we have to be grateful to Papa Haydn for that.